Hi, and welcome to the calendar. I'm Crystal Schelle, Lifestyle Editor for the Herald-Mail, and this is Chris Copley, Assistant Lifestyle Editor. I'd like to say that this is actually Chris's last week with us. He is heading out west to be with his family.
True.
His kids, you got a bunch of them, 3 of them out west.
Yep,
so.
I'm gonna miss this area and all the things there are to do here. I'm telling you.
Now, how long have you been here now?
Been here 13 years with the paper.
So yeah, so it's a long. We're gonna miss you around here because it's after 13 years, you know a lot of things and what's going on, and many of these things we've talked about, you have covered at one point, one way or another.
Right. I've like the first one, Mansion House. I've always enjoyed going to the Mansion House Gallery. It's in City Park. It's kind of quiet. The times I've been there, often I'm the only person there aside from the docents who are there, which it's wonderful. You know, there's art by a dozen art members of the Valley Art Association, and then they have a special exhibit room, which this month, the exhibit on display is work by Denny Bingaman, who's been in this area for a long time. He's multi-talented. He takes photos, he does sculpture, he does paintings. So he'll have some of his work on the walls, in their display room. And I like the different ways different galleries do art. And this is it's quiet, peaceful. You step outside and you're going into the park, City Park, so it's a nice combination.
Well, I like the fact too that you're able to meet, like the whole thing is by living artists. So that's nice to be able to especially when they have the meetings, you meet the artists. Was it every weekend, like usually Friday through Sunday, you can meet an artist. And I like really Denny's work because it's wildlife photography. And one of the favorite, I think we have the shot here of him the fox running through the fields. I just love that. So this will be a great thing. It's something different, like you said, and there's all type of different genres. Well, let's get that information up on the screen. That's the NatureWorks of Wildlife Art by Denny Bingaman. Reception is 2 to 4 on Sunday, so if you want to meet Denny, you can do that on Sunday. Exhibit continues, though, through April 27th at the Mansion House. That's on Key Street in City Park in Hagerstown. There's a phone numbers, and if you want to learn more about Denny, you can go to his website. Well, I thought this next event is pretty interesting. It's Lincoln, the Constitution and the Civil War. And of course, it's to celebrate the Civil War's 150th.
Right.
Which it seems that it never ends.
It was a terrible event in our history, but looking back on it from the distance of 150 years, we can celebrate parts of it. I mean, our country is partly how we are because of that event.
Well, I thought that this was interesting because this started to travel in 2011. It'll finish in May of 2015. For the 4 years of the Civil War.
Right.
The exhibition actually has 3 crises: the succession of the Southern states, slavery, and wartime civil liberties, and how Lincoln himself sought to meet the political and constitutional changes.
You read about this, and we hold up Lincoln as being a guy who, really was by the book, was innovative in certain ways, but he also, in some ways, sidestepped the Constitution.
Right.
I mean, he suspended some constitutional laws for what he saw were the necessities of, surviving this war. In hindsight, we can say, was he right or was he wrong? But I want to see this display just to sort of look at what he did more closely and get a closer sense of that.
Yeah, I was reading, and you can kind of walk around, and it kind of reminds me of the displays that they have in Harper's Ferry.
Yes.
Where it's the stagnant displays. So it'll be the American Library Association actually was the people behind this. So this is not just some random company put it together. So let's get that information on screen. That's the American Library Association traveling exhibit, Lincoln, the Constitution, and the Civil War. The exhibit continues through May 13th if you miss it, but it's at the Fletcher Library. If you haven't seen the new library, get down there in 100 South Potomac Street in downtown Hagerstown. There's a phone number there for more information. Well, The Wizard of Oz.
This is great. This is quite a show. And this is being put on by Barbara Ingham School for the Arts, the art school here in downtown Hagerstown. And I visited with some of the kids as they were getting their makeup put on, getting ready to show for a photo, and talked to them about a bit about what they do. And it happened that the day I was there, we had one of our frequent snows from this past winter, and so they actually stepped outside, had their photo taken in the snow, kind of like a scene from the movie. We actually have some video footage of that. Let's go ahead and see that. So they're very cute, and the costumes. Ruth Ridenour, who is their director coach, said that she's been collecting these costumes over time, from here, from there, some from New York. So the show is really going to be spectacular.
Well, I think it's interesting that this year Wizard of Oz actually celebrates 75 years. And
this show will include some things from that were cut out of the movie. So this goes back to the original story, back to the original play from before the movie was put together.
Let's get that information up on screen. There's also, we forgot to mention the themed reception Friday night. So you can go down to 28 South, where they're going to have $60 per person. There's going to have a themed dinner. So that's 5:30 to 7 on Friday. There's $60 per person. Call Mimi Dickerson at that phone number or that website, or go to the email for more information. But the actual event, the Wizard of Oz, is 7:30 Friday and Saturday, 2:30 Sundays, and it continues for 2 weekends through April 13th. They stage at the Maryland Theater downtown. Tickets start at $10. Phone number and email for more information. Well,
as sometimes happens, there's a wealth of high school productions that happen to fall on the same weekend, unfortunately, because another great show coming up.
Yeah, Clear Spring is putting on Seussical the Musical. People might know that because of the Dr. Seuss event. We'll talk more about that when we get back. We'll have a little B-roll. And I want to tell you, too, about our brand new calendar called spingo.com. You go to our website at Herald-Mail. Actually, we keep on changing this. It was a heraldmailmedia.com.
Right.
You go to the calendar, and it's a really interesting calendar. We'll tell you more about that and all the great events we have coming up. And as we go into commercial here, I'm gonna grieve a little bit as Chris says goodbye for a while.
But you folks, I got to tell you, if you, as Crystal says often, if you haven't gone out to see the events, some of the events that we talk about and the things we list in the calendar, you really should take a chance. This area has a lot of history, has a lot of arts, a lot of culture, many venues that have great music, live music, and terrific art. So it's worth getting out. Sometimes I read about things in the calendar for a couple of weeks or months before I actually go out and see them. But so please take advantage.
Oh, and guess what? We have our cupcake contest coming up. We're judging it on Monday.